My parents had never had a medical checkup their entire lives, and the first time they got examined, they found out it was late-stage cancer. I just couldn't accept this kind of result. I thought life was finally getting better, but reality hit them with another heavy blow. In the days that followed, Mom accompanied Dad to the hospital for chemotherapy every day. From fall to winter, Dad found it harder and harder to walk, relying on Mom's support. They somehow made it through to spring, but 24 rounds of chemo had worn away all his fighting spirit. Looking at the flower petals dancing in the air, and Mom staring down at her own feet, Dad lovingly told her to lift her head and look at this beautiful world. Mom took his hand and made a promise.
오랜만에 애들한테 또 애물단지야. 나 외롭게 늙게 하지 마.
그럼 두고는 못 가지. 그놈의 순이 두고는 못 가지.
Watching Dad suffer after chemotherapy, Mom's heart ached for him, but the medical staff at the hospital, having seen so much life and death, had no patience with people, just because a form was put in the wrong place. A nurse scolded Mom, and Dad felt terrible seeing it. After finally getting their number called, they were told the payment couldn't be made with the registration number. Watching his helpless wife, Dad, who was always so mild-tempered, lost his temper for the first time.
여기 이렇게 사람이 많은데 모르는 사람 그냥 좀 해주면 되지 왜?
그래.
왜 한숨을 쉬어요? 왜 사람 면전에다 한숨을 푹푹거려요?
여보.
처음 하면 다 모르지. 매일 면박 주고 왜 하루 종일 혼만 내고. 자기들만 대장이니까 자기들 아는 것만 죄를 만들어 놓고 못 따라가면 다 등신천치 만들고. 이 사람도 똑똑해요. 더 똑똑해요 더. 뭐가 그렇게 바빠? 병원 올 때는 꼭 같이 와 꼭. 그건 이제 규칙이야. 규칙.
When Dad saw elderly people with white hair coming to the hospital alone, he thought about how after he was gone, would Mom be just as lonely? So he asked me to stay the night and keep him company, and told me stories about him and Mom from when they were young. I would smile hearing about Mom's courage, and cry hearing about the hardships she endured. Father and daughter talked all night long. When life was nearing its end, Dad came home. My older sister saw how frail Dad looked, didn't dare lift her head, and secretly shed tears. My naive little brother kept his head down, saying he bought Dad a bicycle and a chair, but after making eye contact with Dad, he couldn't help but cry. Dad's elderly mother was making chicken soup on the balcony. She could only cry in secret, unable to face her sick son. That night Dad and Mom said their final goodbye. Dad said he wanted to be with her again in the next life, and in the next world, he would fulfill even more of her wishes. But Mom said, being able to marry him in this lifetime was already 10 lifetimes worth of blessings. Throughout this whole life, Dad was always by Mom's side, gently patting her back to comfort her. But such days finally came to an end.
아빠가 본 우리의 마지막 얼굴은 생전 본 적 없이 슬픈 얼굴들이었다.